And I believe that I am live on Facebook in the group.
This
So,
meeting is being recorded.
all right. Welcome, welcome everyone to the book club. So appreciate seeing new faces here. Okay, one more second here. That thing is still flipping. Just I can't tell if I'm live or not in the group yet.
It looks like you're
But
live. I wanted to ask, are we allowed to share it
yeah.
publicly? Because I would love to share it. If
Um,
that's okay.
I
Let
think
me know.
I think you can if you like to, Nicholas.
What
I think
did
it's
you say?
fine because I think that the more we talk about this, the more we get this out. I do believe that we will have more attending. So absolutely feel free to share it. I wouldn't
Oh,
share the whole entire playlist, but a video, absolutely. How's that sound?
I was thinking about this live stream just now, sharing it. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. It may or may not let you because that is a private group. However, you can always share it after the fact with the YouTube link. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's true. That's true. I'll try
Yeah,
and
whatever you want to do.
thank you.
Whatever you want to do, Nicholas, is just fine. Okay, let me get started here. I lost all my notes, so give me just 1 second. Trial and error, trial and error. Okay. All right. How many have read this up through chapter 3, just by a show of hands? That'd be great. Okay. Gina, yeah. No. Anyway, let's start out with the beginning of the book. In the preface, where it talks about this book is pragmatical. It's not philosophical. A practical manual that is intended for all men and women whose most pressing need is for money, but up till now cannot find the time nor the means to be able to take the time and go through all the philosophies of this science of getting rich to make sure that they are true. So they are taking it upon faith. Okay. So it is expected, Wallace Waddles expected the reader that would take the fundamental statements upon faith, just as he would statements about electricity from Thomas Edison. Okay. That's how much faith that you'd have to have. You would take, something that Thomas Edison referred to as an electrical maneuver. Nobody else would know that as well as he does, right? So you would take that upon faith, okay? Um, so when they talk about whatever is said in praise of poverty, the fact does remain that it is not possible to live a full life unless one is rich. Do you think, let me ask you this, and last week, if you weren't here, I did ask everybody to write this down because I do want you to compare at the end, just to see if you retained a better understanding about this book or not. And that's for your own personal preference. You don't have to share that. If you want to, you absolutely can. But this is just for you. So, what does it mean to you to be rich? Okay. So, I want you to think about that because I am going to ask that again when we're done. All right. Now, I do believe the principles that are in this book, if we learn them and if Robert and Melody told me, Lisa, if you want your life to change, then it's got to start with you. They said, read this book, um, follow this book, not just read it, master it, pick it apart like it's a Bible. You know, go through every specific detail. Okay. Every specific detail, you pick that apart. Hey, Sean, welcome, buddy. Just like it's a Bible. And in 1910, when this book was written, there are different words, different phrases per se, using men and women. Don't think too much into this so that it is not going to let you follow through with this book. Okay. The literature is not as it should be today. Okay. And some of the words that they speak are just, you know, I don't want to say not right, but it's definitely dated. Okay. Let's just leave it at that. So keep that in mind and go into this with an open mind, as if you wipe the slate clean from everything that you've learned up to now. Just try to wipe it clean. I think that is the best advice that I can offer anybody, because if we go into it with the same paradigm that we've always had, we're going to miss a lot of the key things here. We just are, you know, because we don't know what we don't know, right? And one of a Robertism, if you know what you know and you've always known it to be true, and then you find out it's not true, it's like, when do you want to know? It's like, I want to know right now, right? So we don't know what we don't know. And we form our thoughts from whoever our caretakers are from the beginning, the day we are born, you know, and it's not our parents' fault. Okay. They only know what they know. And more than likely we have learned what our parents knew, what their parents knew, what their parents knew, what their parents knew, that long progression, what Uncle Joe knew. He's, you know, if he's ever had you in his care, he's another influence. Your Aunt Ethel, the old granny, you know, whatever they think, and if they are any influence in your life, you are thinking along those same ways, because the first 7 years of your life, you are not capable of consciously, um, everything that we do know is back there in our subconscious. It's like all these photos flashing all the time. These are our memories. And every single memory that we have since the day we were born are in there in our subconscious level. They're in there, Steve. They're in there. No, sorry, that was a Family Feud joke, but it's up there, Steve. Anyway, so don't take too much as far as what you know to be the gospel. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's see. Now, um, we live for three things in our life: our body, our mind, and our soul. And no one is more important or more in value than the other one. I do believe if we just really get this, if we get any prince, not, I'm not saying that you have to understand every single principle in this book. That is not what I'm saying at all. There are principles, and if you get just one of them, and start living your life, not just learning the principles, but living your life by them, your life absolutely is going to start to change for the better. And then the other ones, I believe, just kind of make you more aware of the things that we are not doing in that certain way. Okay. Does anybody want to say anything before I continue on here? If they want to add something or whatever. If you guys think something different than what I'm saying, please go ahead, Nicholas.
Hey everyone. Yeah, I was taking some notes while you were talking, and one thing that you said was, Robert's, we don't know what we want. When would you, if we don't know what, if we don't know, when would you like to know? I can't remember how it is, but that got me thinking,
Mhm.
It's so important to question our beliefs, what we think we believe in, because if that isn't true, it might be stopping us from, progressing, getting more success. For example, I used to believe that rich people were greedy. They pushed other people, down in order for them to become successful. And when I met rich people, I realized that isn't true. The other thing that you said was, we don't have to understand everything in the book. One thing that Melody and Robert says, don't get stuck in learning mode. Even if we don't get everything at first, I mean, I read it several times. I still don't get everything to 100%, but we can't we can't think that we must get everything. We can start to practice now and to take action. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. I just want to add that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Nicholas. For sure. I absolutely agree with that. John, you look like you want to say something there.
Yeah, the button is not cooperating with me. It's mute, unmute. I kind of came in a little late, but you did say something about the gospel. Artist is good. I came in on the tail end, and I love this platform within itself. But you were saying something about the gospel, and in the book of Psalms 119. In fact, I just looked it up. Just Psalms 119, 9 through 16. But it asks a question, it says, how should a young man cleanse his way? By giving heed to the reading of the word of God. To really understand that, and as I've gotten older, we only cleansing ourselves by thoughts. Thoughts in, thoughts out. It's no escaping. That means we all on, thank God, we all on an even playing field. And you got to program yourself, deprogram yourself. You got these paradigms, and they come lightning fast. They don't care how you feel. And in fact, feeling is the whole secret. But the feeling need to be good. It can be good or bad, or what we identify as good or bad. And so what I've learned is through feelings, it is what it is. Acknowledge that feeling, however it feels. You don't really have to give a comment to agree with it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because what we put out, it all revolves around the laws of attraction, and our vibration is exactly that. Whatever vibration we are putting out there, that's exactly what we are attracting back. And if we're not sure how to put that good vibration into play, then we just got to practice that. We just got to practice it. It's like learning anything else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Practice. Maybe not makes perfect, but practice is going to get you somewhere in that vicinity to where you can align yourself with what you do truly want. Most of us, Robert does always say, what do you want? I can help you get anything that you want in life. But the problem is, most of us don't know what that is. We don't know what that is, and if we could figure that out, oh my gosh, and then just concentrate our thoughts on that. It's like when somebody is sick, you're constantly thinking of illness. I feel like crap or whatever. So that's where your vibration is at. And that is, you're just going to attract more of that. And
gratitude.
I do want to, yes,
Remember
absolutely.
that? Yeah.
Always fall back on gratitude. If, getting into that habit of doing this every night and every morning, writing, start with just 3 things. Write down 3 things that you are grateful for that just happened within the last couple of days. Okay. Write down as many as you can, but at least start with 3. I'm telling you, that will get easier as you go. If you are consistent, it's just being consistent, just building good habits. and getting rid of those bad ones. That's all it is. And knowing that you do have the right to be rich. Do each of you think that you have the right to be rich? I mean, just raise your hand if you do. You know what? I am going to challenge each and one of you, and I dare you. I dare you. Put it on your wall. Put it on all your social networks, all the platforms. I have the right to be rich, and leave it at that. Yell it from the rooftop, because if you don't believe it, it is never going to happen. It's not going to happen. So you got to believe that, and if you're having a hard time in this area, when you write down those minimal 3 things that you are grateful for that just happened, I am so grateful. I have food on the table for my family. It could be that something that simple. Debbie?
I've been visualizing retiring my husband and moving to Idaho and fishing, and you know what? It's going to come true in February. And I'm so glad. Yeah.
So Idaho, no, not Michigan. You're gonna go to
Too much
Idaho.
snow in Michigan and Wisconsin. Too much snow. I know Idaho doesn't snow as much, so
I know. Our snowbanks are still like 6 foot high. It's like, what? I know it's spring everywhere except here. So that's great to hear, Debbie. Good for you. Um, Thinking that into fruition is a huge key. You got to, a lot of people have a hard time visualizing. I still struggle with that. And it's like, once I can get just a little piece, then I can start adding detail to that. And Robert made us do this right off the get go. I think, Nicholas, you know what I'm talking about. We had to come up with our perfect day. Okay. And we had to write our perfect day and watch and see from day to day. We did this for 30 days straight, and watch it every day as it changes. Do you know what I mean? But you're building that habit of getting that visualization, and then go to the freaking moon with it. Don't stop short. Go above and beyond whatever your imagination can create. You know what I mean? Um, I get so freaking fired up sometimes when I talk about this, and I don't remember if I even talked about this last week, but you guys know who Rhonda Burns is, right? Okay. This is a great analogy to what is possible. I think this is a great analogy for being creative and not competitive also. Okay. Look at what she done. Rhonda Burns, if you don't know who she is, a lady from Australia, and she was going through some very difficult times in her life. Lost a husband, lost her father. She was completely devastated and depressed and anxious, and she could not get out of bed. Literally could not get out of bed. And her daughter had had enough of the stuff. It's like, all right, enough. All right, get over yourself. And she gifted her this book. And Sean, last time I didn't see it at the time, but when I was watching the replay, I saw you hold up your book. And I didn't mean to disregard that. I mean, that was perfect. I'm so sorry for that.
No, you
It doesn't
good.
matter which version you have.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It's up. See, you got a different one too.
And
We all
learn
do.
it.
Right. So anyway, her daughter gave her this book, and she read it. And from that moment on, her whole life began to change. She got so flippin' fired up, and she knew she discovered the secret. Who? I'm sure everybody's seen that movie, right? Anybody not? Anyway, it just she got fired up about something, and she got other people fired up about it. So all of a sudden now, within a matter of 2 years, she created this movie, a book, which grossed her $300 million. Are you freaking kidding me? By taking something that somebody else already had and just made it her own. She made it her own. This is where the secret came from. This book. Did you guys know that? That's crazy. I think it's so freaking exciting. It just goes to show that this stuff is true. And I know for a fact that we all have manifested at some point in our life. We absolutely have. Now, and manifesting does not necessarily mean it's all good. You are manifesting the bad right along with it, right? So we have, and I think being aware is the biggest thing. Being aware, because if you are not happy where you are right now in life, then you have to change that. Nobody else can do that for you. And if you are not aware of what needs to be changed, you're not going to be able to do it. This can be very humbling when we start figuring out what it is that we're doing wrong, what it is that we're not doing things in a certain way. What does that mean to you guys? Gina, what does doing things in a certain way mean to you?
My understanding of it is there's a certain way to do things to be successful. It's
Mhm.
not something that we would come up with and do it ourselves. There is a science. Like when I watch The Secret, it's like all the people that have the Bob Proctors and, all of them, they've all done what they call in a certain way. This, everything has to be done in a certain order. I guess maybe that makes more sense. It's hard, that's the part for me. It's hard for me to explain what the certain way is, but it's like you
Mhm.
got to follow a certain sequence.
Okay, it's like, yeah, absolutely. Like the universe does have an order, a process
Right.
in order. It's like a given law, just like the golden rule.
Mhm.
These things
Right.
are supposed to be common knowledge for us. They are supposed to be common sense, but we can't assume anything. As far as
Right.
that goes,
Right.
we can't assume anything. Now, when they talk about the certain way, this is how I took it, and I could be way off. I am no expert at this. I'm learning right along with you guys, but I would take it as, let's just put it in that business sense. If you wanted to do something and be successful at it, you need to find somebody that is doing exactly what you want to be doing right now. And
Yes.
they are documented for it. And yes, he is making this much money. Yes, he is doing it this way. Yes, he is duplicatable. I'm not
Somebody's not muted.
Yeah, I'm not letting me do that. Rosalind, is that you, hon? Can I get you to mute yourself, please? Okay. um, doing things in that certain way, to me, is like buying a franchise.
Mhm.
Okay. You buy a franchise. I'm sure you guys have heard Robert talk about this. I think Bob Proctor has at one point too. But if you buy a McDonald's or a Wendy's, you know, their food is done a certain way.
Right.
Okay. They're not going to hire some Joe Blow off the street, have him come in, and all of a sudden he's making bacon chili cheeseburgers and popping them out. You know what I mean? You can't
Right.
take it into your own hands to, even though you think it's better or whatever, you have to do it this certain way. And now, in a different aspect, as far as our values go, doing things in a certain way, that's huge there too, because we have to do things in such a way where we are taking the rest of the people right along with us. We're
Right.
not racing and competing to get to that top and then kick the ladder down behind us, you know, so nobody else can get up it. You
Right.
know what I mean? You you know what? Sometimes you will make it to the top, but I can guarantee you it will be short-lived.
Right.
It will not sustain. It will not hold up. And so
Yeah.
doing things in that certain way, doing more for others than you do for yourself, planting
Mhm.
those seeds, you
Right.
know, getting back the laws have that certain order, you know, the
Mhm.
same thing. The laws, and we can go through that later, but I'm kind of getting a little ahead of myself here too. But do you guys understand that part? You know, the certain way? I want to make sure that you understand what the formless means as well. What does that mean to you? Sean, do you want to take this one or?
I've been behind the veil. I do my literally 7 days a week. It's just busy every day of my life. I take it one day at a time. It's just how I go, which is a good thing for where I'm headed. But everything that we're discussing here, like doing things in a certain way, I've been going to school for even this. John Tellerico is a guy who's directed, connected with Bob Proctor. So everything we're even talking about, none of this is new to me. However, that don't mean that I'm effective with it, but I have seen things work. And so going back to the way, there is a way where what I realized we're told to do something. It don't make it right or wrong. We want to be given the right way. Can you hear? Can y'all hear me over there? You still there?
I
Am
can
I
hear
on?
you.
Okay. Okay. Sound like I was on mute. I agree with what everybody was saying. There's a certain way of doing stuff. And if we don't do it in a certain way, we hit a wall.
Somebody's still unmuted.
Now you're good, Sean.
Okay.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. Just going back to the way, there is a way, and those through constant space repetition, then a way will be made out of. When it comes to this universe, we're really backed up. We're really set up perfect, but you got to know the way. It's easy through my learning and through being here on this planet. Someone's telling you how to do something, but it's like how I'm going to tell you what you should do, and sometimes they themselves don't even know the how, and therefore
Right.
you're left hanging. You know, tell me how to do it. I don't care whether the right or wrong. Just tell me how to do it, and I lose my thought to form a different paradigm. But there's a certain way, and if you don't rightfully go that way, you kind of just toast, trying to figure it out. It's nothing to really
Yeah.
figure out, which is important to know what you want. Because when you know what you want, it's nothing to figure out. That's what a map is for. If you're driving out of town and you got a map, I don't need to figure nothing out. I need to follow instructions. But if I don't have the way, I'm confused, and the universe is not the author of confusion. You just really got to sit and think and have that way and implement it. Not tomorrow. Everything is
Now.
right now. And it takes practice, though. I'd be lying. It takes practice. You get frustrated, and the frustration alone, the universe lets you have that, and that's what you're going to get. So you have to come up out of that. And it's
Yeah,
like,
it's
hell,
like-
I'm all over the place.
Yeah. It's like getting cut off in traffic. It's like, it just sets you off and then all of a sudden you spill your coffee on you. It's just a continual domino effect.
One more thing, if I may say,
Yeah.
I have to say this, and I'm really trying to just become just engulfed in it. If I have nothing else good to say, contrary to the events and things that are happening that I can't control, just observe it. And I need to just say thank you, because that really is a safety net. It's a safety net. Like, it ain't no but, if, shoulda, just the town flat. Thank you. I got a vehicle that had a town flat. And just stay in that feel good. And it's like, it sounds easy, don't it? And for you know
Yeah,
it,
it
man,
does.
I done went left field again.
Right, right,
Makes
right.
sense.
Persistence too, just it is frustrating, Sean, especially if you've been doing it for a number of years.
Right.
And nothing is coming, but that it takes 10,000 hours
Whew.
before, I don't care, even if it's a brick and mortar, you need that every
go through it.
time you do. You have to go through it. You have to grow as a person, because you're not going to move on until you understand that lesson,
Right.
and that's
How it goes.
that's oh my gosh, right?
It's
I
fun.
just-
Enjoy the journey.
Oh my God. I get so frustrated with myself, and I know what I'm not doing when I should be. We
That's the
all know
bad.
this. We have the tools already to do. Do you know that 90% of us never live to our potential?
Mhm.
We don't even come close to tapping our potential. If we learned how to work the tools that the universe gives us, then things start to happen.
Learn it.
Um, yeah. Okay, we can move on from there. Anybody else?
Ah.
Okay, well, let's see what else here. Oh, and it does say, if you get into, with everything going in, we've got inflation seriously right now, and it's getting out of hand. The average American is going to be spending about $5,000 more every year, anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, just a regular off the top, whatever. So, what are you going to do to compensate that? You know what I mean? What are you going to do to compensate that? So if you guys are struggling getting recruits or whatever, this is a perfect point. You know what? People are not all going to come into a business. I keep that generic. Even though we all are, almost all are in one company here, we just kind of hang together. I love to get new people occasionally and get their ideas, because although these laws are exact, there is still people take things different ways, and that's what makes this so good, because you're not wrong. You just need to change your perspective. I think Jim Rohn always said that. And then change your perspective. If things are not what you want, change how you look at things. Every action, there is a reaction, cause and effect. Whatever you do, there's going to be a consequence, whether that's good or bad or whatever. And I don't remember I don't think it is in this book, but it did state that, oh, yes, it is in this book. God wanted us to be rich. It is sinful to be in poverty. It says that in the Bible. It actually says that. I was shocked when I saw it. I'm like, seriously. So it is a sin. So, going back to, it's diplomatic, or it's courageous to be doing without. It is a sin to cut yourself short, especially if you have that potential to be more than you already are. So we live for the mind, body, and the soul, right? I kind of skipped over that. I'll get right back to that. So, and no one is more better or worse than the other. We need all three. We need that balance, but we need that balance in every area of our lives, our relationships, our finances, you know, our education. Even though you can't learn this stuff in school, formal education is very important because it is going to teach you how to find those resources, you know, which we have at a drop of a hat. Okay, Google, you know, I ask Google anything and it gives it to me, whether I want it or not. But go ahead, Sean.
You were saying something about sin, and I just go here. Teachings is just kind of how it go. You're born into a globe that you have no control of, but you have control to control that mind. It's like boxing. You can't be, as you grow more into the awareness, you can't play with it. You can't be having highs and lows, but you will have highs and lows. When you're aware of that, it's like you got to come up out of that. So when, like you said, sin, through my discovery, sin means metanoia. And metanoia, which is a profound use of spiritual transformation. When you hear sin in quote we call churches, it's like, well, I'd have done something terrible. It didn't affect nobody. And that's how it's kind of taught, like it's such terrible, but it's just, you change your thinking, you change the behavior. And it's no words because we all participate in it. And so sin means miss the mark. That's all. And if you don't have a vision, you just have to stay with it. It's nothing to be beating yourself up. And if you want to beat yourself up, go cut yourself. I'm gonna say put a Band-Aid on and keep it pushing. But when we're dealing with the mental, you really have to convert the thought. It's an ongoing process until you feel that. And you got to say it 100 times till you feel
That's
it.
a good point right there. You have to feel it with every emotion that you have. Think back when you got your driver's license. Do you remember how you felt? You know, you were so excited and you just got all giddy. And, feeling those is going to put you more in that place than anything else. So feeling, and when you're going through the gratitude, feel that gratitude.
Right.
You got to feel it, because if we don't, our emotions is key to here. You got to feel those emotions. So yeah, that's a great point. Great point, Sean. I like how you put that though. Debbie, go ahead.
Hey, Sean, are you a pastor?
No, but it's funny you say that. I study because I realize I got enough sense to not know what I need to know. I know some things. If you ask me and I ain't giving much comment, I mean, I don't know much on that particular thing, but I'm not a pastor.
Really good at it. You'd be good at it.
Well, thank you. I take it with a grain of gratitude. I do love helping people. I love planting that seed. I come from a family, some of them are pastors, but pastors don't mean that the message is good. So I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it 100. All of us are messengers. So whoever talking the right language has, Go
now, Tanya just wrote a message and she said that it is not a sin to be poor. It is, there is no such scripture.
Right.
I know that I have read that.
Right.
Now, has anybody else read that in the Bible?
I have.
I have too. So, Debbie, if you could find that scripture for me, or if you can't, I will look for it later.
Sure.
But I'm almost positive I read that from the Bible, and it does say that in this book
sure
as
I did
well.
too. So I'll look for it.
Okay. We will look for that, Tanya, see if we can, not to prove we're right, but this is why we ask questions, right? If I'm wrong, I need to know that. I'm wrong because I'm not perfect and I am not an expert. Again, do I need a disclaimer? No, I'm just kidding. My husband actually said, Lisa, do you have a disclaimer? I said, what? But maybe he's right. I don't know. But anyway, okay, so once we know what we want, once we know what we want and we find somebody that is doing what we want to be doing, and that's like having that treasure map that Sean says. It's like once you have that map, all you do is follow the directions, right? It's not rocket science, follow the directions. But what we do instead is we start changing things. We start making it our own. We start personalize. Oh, it would be better if it had this little touch or whatever, whatever. Get over yourself, because if we're not following that roadmap that we have, we're not going to get there either. So, okay, let's kind of move on here. Let's see. Oh, 45 minutes already. Okay, chapter 2 is about, it says that there is an exact science to getting rich. Okay, once the laws are learned and obeyed by any man or woman, they absolutely will get rich with mathematical certainty. Absolutely, there's no way that you can fail unless you are changing something, which we all do. We all do. And it talks about the certain way, which we kind of already got into. And it does say that being rich, it has nothing to do with environment. It does have, I mean, it'll sway one way or the other, but you absolutely can be in an environment where everybody is dirt poor. Nicholas, go ahead.
Yeah, you touched on something very interesting to me, and I want to hear everyone else's thought about this. You said we can't change things. We have to follow, a certain way, follow one direction. But, I believe that, of course, the core principles, everything that we learned from Robert, how to communicate with someone, before asking to share the opportunity, and everything that it says in the Science of Getting Rich and all the success books where it says, to read affirmations. For example, reading the, what's it called now? The God Memorandum, to make you feel more in, to start loving yourself, to realize that you are a miracle and so on. All of these core things are key and we must follow them. But here is the thing, here's an interesting part that I've been thinking a lot about and I haven't brought up because, we're following one way. But think about this, there's a lot of mentors out there. And I'm sure that all of those mentors that have successfully helped other people have become massively successful. They tell them also to read something that, so they work on themselves, so they start loving themselves and realize how, unique and so they are. But, it differs from, here's 2 examples. First off, Robert Hollis gives us, a text where this is what I say to people when he gets people to join the opportunity. I made my own version. I shared it with Melody and Robert. They confirmed it. That looks amazing. It works. I've used it. It works. So what I mean is the core principles, working on your mindset and everything, we have to do that. It's just the objects that might change, the details might change. So there's one way that works, using all these core principles, but some mentors might give the students another book and some, you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
one way.
true.
So these are my thoughts.
No, that's great, Nicholas. Yeah, I had a
I
thought.
hope that makes sense to everyone, as it is.
It does, and I had a thought, but I lost it. I lost it here. Shoot. John, did you have something? No?
And that's a great point. what he said. My hearing is sometimes different. Even when you say you lost a thought, I understand that. When that happens to me, I say to come back. I like stay right there. I say to come back, and when I lose it, it comes back. It's crazy. You see how it slides up under there real quick. And then when Nicholas, he was saying there's a way. There are different ways, but there's only one way. In that, meaning everybody got to think. It ain't no escaping in that. So I agree 100% with that. There are certain ways you may have to meditate on an affirmation, but to meditate, you still got to take the thought there. To do something this way, your thought got to be, it got to be focused on a picture, because we just dealing with information. On an unseen level, the physical stuff can be replaced, but we got this living spirit in us. And that is the only way for us thinking. A man is what he think about all day long. That is a way. Now, which way you choose to go in your thinking, that's when we all go here, but we still got to go to the thought. You can't escape it because it's in the body. I hope that made sense. But everything I agree with you.
Yeah, great point, you guys.
Can I add something?
Great point. I love that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love what you were saying. I like that you brought up meditation, for example. And that's also one thing that, there is a bunch of different meditations out there. And I want to stress to ask your mentor about this. That's what I did. The meditation that we learned to use from our mentors. Of course, the people that get success the fastest are those that don't think and just do exactly. But there are other ways within the core principles. So
yeah, I think that is a great point. I don't believe,
ask your mentor, because they can give you other alternatives.
Absolutely.
for sure, Nicholas, right? I don't believe in scripting when you are network marketing. I don't believe so much in scripting because I don't think that you are being genuine. The core, Nicholas, you nailed it. There's a core reason for doing what you're doing, but following a script, I don't believe is something that we should be doing. We should be, I'm not explaining this very well, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying. You got to do it for the right reasons. If you are talking to people just to get yourself ahead, how do you know? See, I won't do that, because how do I know that they need what I have, and vice versa? I continually meet people and they don't even try to get to know me, and they're pitching me. They don't even know if I need what they have. So how is that connecting with anybody? That's not.
Right.
It's for your own benefit. You are not looking to try to help people with where they are struggling. You don't even know if you have what they need. Do you know what I'm saying?
Not to interrupt you, Lisa, but people are so shallow. When I try to connect to people, it's like they pitch me right away, and they're more into trying to get that almighty buck than it is to make a friend.
It's a competition. It's a race. Who can pitch who first?
Exactly.
And it should not
I don't
be
agree with that at
competitive.
all.
Yeah. We can whine all we want. I don't think anything will ever change. But if we can change ourselves, we can't worry about changing other people. That's not our job. It's not our focus. We got to concentrate on what we got right here. And believe me, if we do that, you're going to have your plate full.
Yeah.
Do, right? You're going to have your plate full with just dealing with yourself. Good grief, Okay, so I was talking a little bit. Okay, T, you got to go. Thanks for hopping on, hon. I will look into that and get that question answered for you. I promise. I will find it. And if not, then I will apologize and admit that I was wrong.
I did look a little bit around on some websites as far as verses goes, and they do talk a lot about helping people helping the poor, you know,
Right, right.
but I don't
And
see
see, I got a lot of mixed emotions about that specifically
I
and
guess I have to
how,
look more into depth. I'll ask Carol about that because Carol's more into,
yeah,
yeah, I'll ask
okay.
Carol.
And I will look too. I will look. I know that I've read that someplace other than this book, and I don't know where that would be other than the Bible, unless it was in Think and Grow Rich, which is a possibility. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But I will definitely find out. But
I'll
thanks,
ask
T, for
Carol.
being here, and I will let you know when the next one is. Okay. Okay, I was talking about environment not being an issue. It is
I'm
not,
sorry.
because oh, that's okay. Anywhere you go in life, any um any town, any state, any whatever. Welcome, Ursula. Nice to see you. Yay. How you doing, hon? Okay, so there are rich people and poor people living in every community. There are even people that you have one guy or two guys in the same neighborhood. Maybe they're even working the same job, for the same employer or whatever. One's rich, one's poor. What does that tell you that is going on there? Does anybody know? What does that tell you?
You mind saying that
Go ahead,
again?
Nick. Oh, sure, sure. If you have two people from the same neighborhood working for the same employer, one's rich, one is not.
Okay.
What does that tell you?
Nicholas, you go ahead because I interrupted into that. So I'll wait my
Oh,
turn.
Go ahead,
I
Nick.
might be wrong here. Well, I guess, and I remember it from the book, but I guess the logical part is that one is following a certain way and the other one is not.
Bingo, ding, ding, ding. You're the winner. Nice job. Yeah, it's back to doing it in that certain way. So
Awesome, Nicholas.
obviously, you get the cookie, bud. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're talented, because there are talented people that remain poor, and there are people that are very talented. Oh, I said that backwards, didn't I? There are people that are very talented that remain poor, and there are people that are not talented and become very, very successful. You can learn anything. You can learn anything if you just put the time in. So it does. If environment was an issue, then you would have one state that was completely desolate and complete poverty, and then you would have the next state that is overflowing in abundance. That doesn't make any sense. So it doesn't matter where you are. Some places it's absolutely, it would make a difference, but it is not everything. So you would not want to open up an ice cream shop in the middle of Antarctica, so in that sense, environment plays somewhat of a role, but it is not everything. Okay.
Stay
And
frozen.
what's that?
The ice cream will stay frozen though.
It will stay frozen. Hey, you know what? Maybe that's not a bad idea. You'd save tons of money on electric or the freezers or whatever. I've always wanted to be an ice cream man. When I was a little kid, we had this ice cream truck that went down our road, and I just take off out of the house with change in my hand.
You ain't by yourself.
Anyway, okay. So
I
opportunity
did the
is
same
also,
thing.
yeah, yeah. Fred, my hubby wants a hot dog stand. One of those.
Yes.
Seriously? Is this what we're gonna do in our retirement? I don't think so. Anyway, I'm a builder. I'm gonna be building. I'm not going back. I don't know if I told you guys, I'm not going back to work this year. I
Oh,
am not going back to work.
yay. Yay.
Yes. I know. 7 years early from retirement, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So life is too short not to. So I'm
Absolutely.
super excited about that. I don't even know if I will stay in the, I don't know. I'm not committing to whatever. I'm a free bird, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what else do we have here? Nature, you know what? It is in our nature to want the most that we can get. If we didn't, we would not be normal. You know, it's in our psyche, it's in our nature to want the best that we can be. So I think the easiest way to stay into an attitude of gratitude and to be positive and to visualize and to feel all those emotions. What makes you happy? Whatever it is that we are doing, does it make you happy? You know, and that's what it's all about. And you can be rich in so many areas without materialistic things. However, our world has advanced so much that we absolutely do need money in
Yes.
order to possess the tools that we need, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's like mind, body, and soul. Your mind, we need to feed our mind. You know, if you're not growing,
Mhm.
you're dying. If you are not growing, you are dying. That's a sad, that's a sad realization, isn't it? Who
Yep.
has watched Earl Nightingale? Does anybody know who Earl Nightingale is? Yeah. The strangest secret in the world. Is that it? Yeah. The first time I got into online business, whatever, the person, I didn't have a mentor at that time. I did not. I never even thought a mentor. What the hell's a mentor? Whatever. You know, personal development was never brought up. I did not know what that is. So what are you talking about? Do I work on myself? What are you talking about? You know, I didn't know. And if you don't know, you don't know. So I think, you know, and a lot of times we just assume people are on the same page with us.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nicholas.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about that because that's something that I never understood, and I'm probably thinking all wrong about this. You said, "Oh, now I lost what I was gonna say." You said, "What was it?" You said? Yes.
What did
It's
I
funny
say?
when you're gonna talk about something and you lose it. But
I
it's a
know it.
saying. It's a saying that you just mentioned from the book that I never understood and never really believed in.
What did I just
Too
say?
bad I forgot it. What did you say?
Well, hang on a second.
Yeah,
I
now
don't
I
know what
remember.
it.
If
Okay.
we're not growing, we're dying.
Oh,
And I've had
yeah.
this discussion with Melody, our mentor. I don't know if
Mhm.
anybody else on here has Melody as well as a mentor. She's amazing, by the way. But you know, I never, you know, I realized that I'm very happy in my life as the way my life is and has been. I'm not
Mhm.
content. Yes, I learned this from Melody. I'm not content because I want more, but I'm happy. But the life that I had, if I wasn't, you know, growing, I wouldn't feel like I was dying. What does that mean?
You wouldn't, or you would feel like you were dying.
I wouldn't feel like I was dying because I'm happy,
If we,
but I want more. I'm not.
well,
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go
and
ahead.
Melody, no, that's okay. Melody just popped on here, so maybe she
Oh,
can
perfectly.
clarify that for us. That's a
Did you
great
hear what I
question,
said?
Nicholas. Uh, let's give her a minute here to, hey, sweetheart.
Yeah, I would love to hear Melody's view on that because I never understood it.
On what?
Right.
I'm sorry, I got my little guy here making a lot
Oh,
of.
let me ask you the question. So Lisa was talking about, you know, she said, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I know I've had this discussion with you, Melody, about me being happy in my life. However, I'm not content. I learned that from you, those different words, because English is not my first language. I am not content. I want more, but I'm happy. I'm very happy. And the life that I have and have had without any further success, I've never felt like I was dying. So what does that mean?
Okay, so I'm going to refer to the preface of the book. Did you read the preface of the book?
We just went over it. We didn't read it. Or, well,
Okay,
I read it, but
it's, yeah, well, that's the thing is, I don't know how many people are actually reading the book or listening to the words of the book. It's very, very important. And Nicholas, I would refer to you to go back to that. Let me see if I can move and grab my stuff because I've got it hidden
here, I
from me
can read
here.
it. I got it right in front of me. This book is pragmatical, not philosophical. A practical manual, not a treatise upon theories. It is intended for the men and women whose most pressing need is for money, who wish to get rich first and philosophize afterward. It is for those who have so far found neither the time, the means, nor the opportunity to go deeply into the study of metaphysics, but who want results and are willing to take the conclusions of science as a basis for action without going into all the processes by which the conclusions were reached. It is expected that the reader will take the fundamental statements upon faith, just as he would take statements concerning a law of electrical action if it was proclamated by Edison, taking the statements upon faith that he will prove their truth by acting upon them with fear and hesitation. I'm trying to skip forward here to find that specific part. The reader who would dig into the philosophical foundations of this is advised to read all the authors that are in the preface. In writing this book, I have sacrificed all other considerations to plainness and simplicity of style, so that all might understand. The plan of action laid down herein was deduced from the conclusions of philosophy. It has been very thoroughly tested and bears the supreme test of practical. If you wish to know how the conclusions were arrived at, read the authors, like I just said. It does not say specifically right there, Melody. But see, what I think, if you are not growing, we are,
Yeah,
like I said
Yeah.
earlier, none of us reach our potential ever. I don't, or 90% of us do not. There is always room to grow. So if you are not growing, you're not moving forward, you are stagnant. And that is the same as no increase.
Not growing.
All life was meant for development. All life
Yeah.
was meant to grow.
right.
So
And
it doesn't-
let's see, every man, and let's just think about this, or woman, I'm going to say women too, but when I say man, I mean women too. You know, when we're created, think about when you're young, like all the things that you want to do and learn and experience and all of these things. But what happens in life, instead of, hey buddy, instead of, you know, life happens and we get all these battle wounds. You know, we get people that hurt our feelings. We start disbelieving in ourselves. We start believing that we can't achieve. You know, people tell us we can't. And so we start to get these limiting beliefs. And therefore, we stop believing that we can have anything other. You know, I know in the audios, it talks about, you know, no man is is, I mean, we're just not supposed to live where we are. We're supposed to be increasingly getting gooder and gooder. I'm going to use Robert's term, gooder and gooder all the time, right? So,
Sure.
yeah, that's the way life is supposed to be. We're always supposed to be growing. We're never supposed to go, okay, well, you know, this is enough. And I'm not talking just about money, but to fully live to our fullest potential. And when we
Right.
do
Yeah.
that, then when we do that, we can impact the people around us and in a positive way, right? In an uplifting, in a positive way. So it's, you know, Nicholas, go to the audios and listen to this part, because it explains it perfectly. And I apologize, my mind is elsewhere now.
You know what? I just put the audios into the group
Yes.
again. They're featured, so they are in there. Grab
And
them.
I'm
I'm
gonna send some
telling you.
on Audibles. I don't know if it's a different version or whatever on Audibles. Definitely, you know, that's where I'm getting it. And I just love that rendition of them. It's been a while since I've listened to the Audibles that we share, Lisa. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
if
Yeah,
you want to know what I'm
I
referring
used to.
to, Audibles. Yeah.
Yeah. And they, you know, and I don't be afraid. You know, this book cannot, I don't believe, can be read just a few times. I think, like Bob Proctor started reading the Science or Think and Grow Rich in 1961. I mean, 61 years that man had that book in his back pocket. And you know, and I've gotten into the habit of reading. These are small chapters. I read one every single day, or I've got that audio in my ear when I'm driving. I used to drive 2 hours, you know, to a different state to go to work every week. And
God.
I'd always have those audibles in my head. You know what I mean? Always. That was my windshield time. And if we keep, I'm telling you, you keep plugging that audible in and you do that on it. When I'm out there gardening, I will have that in there, you know, just listening when I'm cleaning house. And I was talking a little bit about that Earl Nightingale for a moment there. The same thing with, you know, The Strangest Secret of the World, you know, or whatever it is. You guys know what I'm talking about. That is phenomenal. Listen to that. You know, YouTube is free, right? Listen to I can find anything I want on the science of getting rich. I can Google it. You would not believe all the information. Who knows this? Who knew that Wallace Wattles was actually a socialist? Did anybody know that? I was just researching and then I got all these things. All of a sudden, all these things started popping back here about things that have been said about this book or people not believing it, and you can't compare that to the Bible. Well, I'll tell you what, Robert has the scriptures that coincide with this book. He has them. If anybody wants them, I could reach out to him now and get them for you, or you can reach out yourself. He has them. So yes, this is all backed up. And that's exciting, isn't it? To me, it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
So thank you, Melody. That's a great
Absolutely. And I
question.
apologize. It's not about, oh, well, I love my life and I'm happy in my life and that's all there is. Yes, the whole purpose of learning how to live by these success principles is, it's not just for, you know, money. That's the first thing we think about, right? A lot of
Right.
people that need money come to this book, and we talked about that last week, or yeah. And my thoughts on that. However, it's not just for that. There are riches in so many ways. And, you know, as we go through the book, it talks about being able to connect our mind to a greater level of thinking.
Right. And you
And
know
most
what?
people
Yeah.
don't ever get there. Most people don't ever get there, and they don't know what they're missing. That we just figure we go to school, or some of us go to college, and that's all the knowledge we need. And they don't teach you how to think in this
Outside of the
way.
box.
And that's why there's such a small percentage of people that truly master success financially, spiritually, in their relationships. There's so many in their health and well-being. So, I mean, this is so exciting for me. And I'm going to turn it back over to you, and I'm going to mute myself. And I just want you guys to just, I went through the book, and there are some, I highlight through things. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. Come here. You want to say hi? You want to say hi?
Hi, Tyler. Hi, baby.
Hey.
Sweetheart.
Deborah. So,
Hi. Or
I just,
Tyler's daddy.
yes,
Sorry.
I just go through highlighting, and there's so many times that it says, a burning desire. Like, you can't, it's always on your mind. You don't have to be reminded. You don't have to be motivated. You don't have to be inspired daily to get anything done. It's that burning desire. So pay attention to that in this as we go through it. And I'm going to go ahead and mute. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Melody. That's what Rhonda Burns experienced. That's where she got her desire. And it fired her up so much. She literally changed millions of people's lives. How freaking cool is that? That is so cool. Wouldn't you want to be responsible for something like that? How cool. So anyway, I do get fired up. I'm another one though, Nicholas, that I very content in my life. I don't feel like that I want or need anything. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I have everything that my heart desires, but deep down, I guess there are desires that, oh my God, what if I could do that? Oh my God. Well, you can if you just put your mind to it and believe that you can do it, then you absolutely can. Because if you think you can't, then you would be correct as well. And that would be sad. That would be sad. So we all have the potential. I absolutely love this book, and I hope you guys are enjoying it too. We pretty much have covered the first 3 chapters. I'm surprised. Very good. Great guy. Great job, you guys. So was it chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 7 are the are those the 3 that are the most important? I know 4 and 7. Is 3 the other one? Chapter 3, which we just covered, are the most crucial chapters in this book. And Robert always said, you get just one of those. Just get one of them, and your whole life is going to start changing. I love that we got so much communication going on here. People are asking questions, so thank you. We wouldn't have a good book club if we didn't. Melody?
Yeah, did you guys cover the steps, the 6 steps?
No, we can do that though.
That is so important. You cannot skip that.
Yep. Okay, 7 steps. We can do that right now. If you guys, I would take notes if you don't know them. And I'm not sure. Let me see. Okay.
I gotta go. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right.
Thanks for hopping on.
Bye, you guys.
Appreciate it.
See you soon. No
Bye,
problem.
Deb.
Bye.
Okay. There are 7 steps. Let's go through those that that are connected to like vibration.
Well,
Vibration is
Lisa, I'm talking about the method by which desires for riches can be transmuted into financial equivalent. And that is 6 steps.
which chapter?
chapter 2. Desire.
Here. You're not in Think and Grow Rich, are you?
Oh, maybe I am. Oh,
Yeah.
you know what
yeah.
I did? He's got my other book. Okay, sorry.
That's okay. I thought, wow,
I'm
I'm
doing
really
two
missing
different book
this.
clubs at the same time, so they kind of mix up. Go ahead.
But there are 7 things that, okay, that coincide with like the law of relativity. Am I on the right one, Melody? Oh, she had
Yes,
to
you
go.
are. Yes.
Okay. I was second guessing myself. Okay, so the 7 laws are the law of perpetual transmutation, the law of relativity, law of vibration. These are in no particular order. The law of polarity, the law of rhythm, law of cause and effect, and the law of gender. Now, those are the 7 laws. Now, explaining them completely, I don't know if I could do that very, very well. Does anybody want to tackle any of these?
You mind saying it again? You kind of, it broke up
Okay.
on me. The laws.
Oh.
I heard the laws.
The
tackle.
laws, okay, yep. Law of perpetual transmutation.
I could, if I had my notes, I could.
Oh, that's okay. You know what? This is good practice, Sean. Wing it, buddy.
I can't
have
even.
faith in ya.
Perpetual transmutation. Perpetual. It's really a everything is really thought. Like there's really no other route. I'm gonna just tie this in for the part that I know. 1, to learn, we must love discipline. This really is a practice, consistent practice, but through constant, through constant repetition, that desire is created. You know, like you could easily tell me I have a desire. I would ask you, okay, I want it right now. It ain't there. So what should I do? And so the idea, direction to go to, I have to have a vision presented before me, whether I got it memorized, which if I don't have it memorized, I got to go over a goal. You see, that's the way you got to have some info. You got to have a picture and information. Like right now, though we're all on the screen, you could close your eyes and see through your whole house. When you get out, you can see through your whole house. You can see the places that you've been through a constant being in contact with them. So when it comes to a real idea and trying to get this to manifest, and I'm not just saying this because I practice it, it's like, wow, you kind of shock yourself. You got to be consistent. You got to have a clear picture. You just can't play with it. Or I think you said earlier, you kind of just going through life, chasing the wind, highs and lows, and whining about your problems. You're not even supposed to talk about your problems. Once you've
No,
acknowledged,
it just brings about more of them.
I hope I didn't deviate from that.
No,
Okay.
no, I think you kind of nailed that, kind of a backdoor way, but absolutely you
Perpetual
nailed it.
transmutation. I remember Bob Proctor saying something about that.
You know, and there is something like this specifically in Think and Grow Rich too, and it's that sexual transmutation, which is mind blowing. I mean, yeah, we won't go into that anymore because it's not so much in this book, but it makes sense.
It's
I mean,
good.
the level of vibration that you are at, I mean, that is when geniuses are born. It's true. It's true. You are at your highest vibration, sex and love and companionship. Go ahead, John.
I'm gonna give a little bit of this. I remember hearing, I don't know if you're familiar with Kevin Trudell. He's within the same vein. All of us really go to the same vein. Some people hit that peak where they're able to teach people, but he was saying this though. You want to get your thoughts so automated to where, and it just depends on what you want. Your thoughts are already automated throughout the day. You're feeling bad, you're feeling good, you're tired, you're happy, you're sad, and go on and on. But you want to become unconsciously conscious, to where it's automated, to where you, going back to, I think you said earlier, where You don't have that desire just constantly running in your mind. Regardless of
If
all the
it's a-
noise around you. Go ahead. Go ahead. What you finna say?
if it gets to that desire where you
Right.
are thinking about it all the time and
Right.
all your emotions are in there too,
Right.
it's not going to be a job. It's second
Right.
nature.
Right. There you go.
Yeah,
Unconscious,
it's like
conscious of it.
conscious competence, unconscious competence. That's it. Unconscious competence.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. You don't even have to think about it. It just automatically comes. So that's perfect.
Practice.
Thank you, Sean. That's
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
I think this was a really good call. Does anybody have anything else to add to it? Or do we want to go through the rest of them? We may as well, right? Anybody want to take the law of relativity?
Boy, this stuff is sticking in my head.
I don't feel comfortable with that one myself. And Melody, she would come out if she was able. So let me go skip that one for now. Law of polarity, the law of rhythm, the law of cause and effect. I think we already went through that one. And it's kind of funny because if you go with one of these laws, it's like all the other ones are just automatically there as well, that you need to say something about that. Do you know what I mean?
The law of resistance.
That
causes the problem for every
me?
other law. The law of resistance. When we're resisting and we're going upstream and not downstream, it's like we fight against everything. Because I have that struggle, like letting go. It's like I'm trying to let go. I really ain't holding on.
Yeah.
It's mine.
Go with the tide.
Yeah.
Why go with resistance? You know, and we think, I always thought, this is really hard. Oh my gosh, I'm gaining so much here, you know, because this is really hard. But you know what I mean? You think if you're working harder, you're doing more, and you're not. We're not working. We got to work smarter,
Right.
not harder, and go with the tide. Stay in front of the trends. You know, get in front of that trend. Just like when this book was written, you know, and the steel industry, you know, was born. At that point, you could not get into the steel industry and do well. It was already there. It was already in place. Too late for that momentum, for that trend. But in our situation, what we are coming up on with MDC, we are definitely in that trend. Do you know what I'm saying? We are in that trend, and we need to stay right there. Stay at the front of that train. Go 80 miles an hour and let the momentum push you, you know? So, okay. And then there was the law of gender as well. And I don't feel comfortable myself talking about any other ones than what I already have. So if anybody else wants to take that, otherwise I will do my homework and I will come back at you. So
I'm gonna do some homework
okay.
too. Do some more.
What's that?
I'm gonna do some everything you're saying. I literally took notes, but you would happen to bring it up when I don't have the notes around. So that's wise for me to just shut my mouth.
And that's kind of how I feel too. Like I said, I absolutely am not an expert here, but you know, that's why we got to continue doing what we're doing to get the value out of it, to get more out of it. So I'm going to end that right here. This was an hour and a half, which is plenty long enough for us to be sitting on our butts, right? So, is anybody interested in possibly doing a Saturday? We could go Saturday, or we could go a week from Saturday. I want to give the other people that weren't able to be on a Sunday a chance to be on. So Nicholas, go ahead.
No, I just meant that I'm up for it. I will be here.
Okay, anybody, Sean, I know you got a tight schedule.
Whew. And I do everything to jump aboard. I'm loving this. The problem is with these type of events here, because it's all growth. Like this is all growth. The problem is cutting
Oh,
it
yeah.
out. We'd have been an hour and 30, but I could talk about this all day. It's nothing toxic
Right.
about it. It just I choose
Yeah.
to live there. And if people go the opposite direction, I love them because I realize everybody not here. See, that's love. But I'm gonna love you and keep going this way. I don't want no part of there's a
Mhm.
lot of going on. Your mind will go boom real quick.
Yeah,
It
I
take a
know
lot-
Dustin,
yeah.
Dustin really wanted, there's a few that really wanted to be on here, so I'm gonna just touch base with them and see what's
Okay.
good, and I will present it in the group from there. Gina, how's your work schedule?
Saturday, as long as it would be like 2 o'clock and after Eastern, say,
Okay,
East Coast time, which is an hour
Okay.
from your time. Because when I work Saturday morning, if I can get home by 2 o'clock, so I can
Mhm.
jump on then.
well, I can tell you one thing, I won't go on at 2 o'clock my time because Robert
Right.
is on.
Yes.
And I will, you know what? Let's
Right.
shoot for Saturday at 2:30, should we?
Yeah, that's good.
Let's shoot for that. If you can't get on, I mean, we'll have the replay. Don't worry about that. I would love to have everybody on here contributing. But we'll just play it by ear. But
Right, right.
let's plan on Saturday at 2:30 for the next one, and we'll just see what kind of a turnout we got. If they don't
Right.
come, we'll go right back to what we had.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep, that's
All
fine.
right. Thank you guys so much for hopping on here. Nicholas, Gina, Ursula, good to see you. And T, thanks for coming. Deb, thanks for coming. And Sean, awesome. I got a lot of value out of this. So thank you guys so much. And we'll talk to you next week. Okay.
Can I show you something right quick? We'll show y'all something. You see this book
Yeah.
here? Okay, that's
The
a real
Miracle
thick
Power.
book. It's Joseph
Mhm.
Murphy, The Power of Your Subconscious.
Okay. I
Okay.
have not heard of that book. The Power of
The Power of Your
Of Your Mind.
Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I study this, and I don't just say that. I just when it's like I was mysteriously led to this book. The book was so good. I like this is a pretty thick book.
Yeah.
Depending on who got a hold of it would discourage them, but I would tell anybody with my life, all your answers are here. It's not complicated about this. The thing is, when you were saying the way, we're not born knowing the way. We're just not. And we're taught all these different beliefs, but some beliefs are good to keep, some just not. It's just a way. So I encourage you to get this. Like, you want answers? Like, if you're sick, do you know how to get well? Go there. If you need money, do you know how to go there? Money, physically money within itself. Yes, we do need it, and we need more other things added to that. I'm not going to lie to myself. I like to eat, so I like money. I don't be wanting to budget sometimes, but we need all of it. And the God of the universe has really blessed all of us, but people suffer for a lack of knowledge because they don't want to do the legwork.
That's right.
Right.
We don't
we-
know what we don't know.
Yeah, we
Right.
got to cut the
And
chase
unless,
to help
we
people.
just don't know it.
Right.
It's not anything to feel bad about.
Right.
We don't know what we
Right.
don't know.
But you can
We
pick
just
up a
don't.
book, can't we?
Yep.
We
sure
should
can.
let it
We've
take
got,
our whole life. Yeah.
Yeah. We got everything at our fingertips. We have Google, we have YouTube. There's so many resources. We just got to know how to find them.
Right.
It's asking the right questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You don't know unless you ask.
Right.
Don't be afraid that you look stupid. I always put myself out there, and a lot of times I end up looking foolish, but that's how we learn. That's how we grow. So
You're not foolish neither. See, that sound, my hearing is really like real deal. Like nothing is foolish. All you gotta do is not believe another person's viewpoint of you. If
Right.
it's good,
that's
then
right.
accept it. But ain't nothing foolish about me. Like I'm a genius. I believe that about myself. I've done that young. Now my actions if my actions show different, I say I'm still in the practice mode. But I think it's
Right.
kind of like, I got a friend once, and I digress on this, but he had asked me a question and then he said smart ass. But no, it ain't smart ass. It was just the answer you didn't want to hear. But if I was a dumbass, you wouldn't want to hang with me. So how do you want to play this game? See, I'm not gonna back down because you give a comment. But no, it's my answer. It's my answer. I'm explaining so we don't have a misunderstanding. If you take it a different direction, that's your own problem. But you either smart, you either dumb, you either think you're dumb, good. Meditate upon things that are good, just, noble. That's in Philippians. So the Bible is a good reference point to keep our mind right. You know, it's a mind, and the mind is perfect. It's perfectly flawed and it's perfectly perfect. It's your own mind. So if it don't work well, don't blame me. You see how I'm
Yeah.
just painting a picture through words, but we're all born intelligent.
You
So I'll
know,
share that with
yeah,
you.
we all
That ain't
we all
foolish.
need
That's
to
what
be
I'm, yeah.
pay attention to that.
That ain't
Right. Oh,
foolish.
thanks,
That's all.
Sean.
Yeah. Can
I
let you ride on
I
that.
just saw this, Melody wrote this in the comments. I just now saw it. It says the law of perpetual transmutation of energy means that you can also transmute your own energy in order to manifest what you want. If
Oh.
energy is always, well, energy is always in motion, right?
Ooh, this is
So
good.
awesome call. I love this. And I'm going to end this, but Sean, I wanted to ask you because you are so hard to reach or have a conversation with, other than right here. Can you stay on for a few minutes? I'd like to talk to you.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to let you guys go. And thank you so much, Ursula. Thank you,
Nicholas,
Rosalind,
Gina.
Nicholas, Gina. Appreciate you guys so much. All right. And we'll see you next week. All right.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Peace and blessings.
peace and blessing.
Okay. Two more. Okay. Yeah, Rosalind, Ursula, we're all done.
Maybe they gone.
Maybe. Can I just, I'll just end this meeting and I'm gonna pop right back in. Can you
Okay.
just use
me
the
to re-
same link and pop back in?
Okay. That'll work.
Okay,
All
all
right.
right. Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.